that you said it's you and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
Champion, he's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
According to the reports, the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight is officially set for January 2026. Sources say the colossal crossover bout is under serious negotiation. Jake Paul's manager Nakisa Madarian confirmed beginning of talks with Joshua's camp and Eddie Hearn, with Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al-Alshik pushing to back the event. Venues under review include Wembley, sites across the U.S. and the Middle East. Jake Paul, fresh off his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., has dropped a major hint about a showdown with Anthony Joshua, saying it's looking very likely for next year.
Active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
Paul and Joshua have been exchanging messages, and Paul revealed that Joshua suggested staging the fight at the end of 2025 with a full clash expected in early 2026. His manager, Nakisa Madarian, echoed that sentiment, confirming active discussions for a biblical fight.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next.
Paul backed up his public challenge with real momentum, stating an insane clash with Joshua is exactly what he intends next, following his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He called out Anthony Joshua directly on his podcast and doubled down after the fight, insisting first Anthony Joshua, signaling his intent to shock the heavyweight world. Paul insists that his proposed showdown with Anthony Joshua would be good for the sport of boxing, arguing it brings fresh energy, new fans, and massive global attention. He has called himself a breath of fresh air and said legends like Joshua, Tyson, Fury, and Pacquiao all recognize the boost he brings to the sport.
It's 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter. And he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy. AJ, he's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it just doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight. Yeah. Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good.
Paul highlighted that boxing needs revitalization and his mainstream appeal invites younger audiences who might not otherwise follow traditional boxing. Eddie Hearn has also confirmed that serious talks are underway for a potential Joshua versus Jake Paul fight targeted for early 2026, with Joshua set to return late in 2025 after elbow surgery. Saudi boxing figure Turki Alalshik is reportedly supportive of staging the bout, increasing its likelihood. Hearn, meanwhile, has sounded a strong warning to Paul. While he acknowledges the massive financial opportunity, he stressed that fighting
with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush there, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. I'm sure. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announced he's going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. I don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Joseph Parker.
Tony Bellew, former WBC cruiserweight champ, called the matchup dangerously insane, raising serious safety concerns over Paul's considerable size disadvantage.
It's a possibility to happen.
Yeah, it's a possibility that... It's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
You just said the word fight. In the same sentence, said Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel. And I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing, some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. This job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury, and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that. I give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury?
A peak heavyweight like Joshua is extremely dangerous and not to be taken lightly. Eddie Hearn acknowledged the attention Fury's assessment generated, but emphasized there's nothing evenly matched about a Jay versus Paul. As he said in a candid interview, if it is a 50-50th fight, you've got no problem seeing it strictly from a promotional standpoint. Tony Bellew, former WBC cruiserweight champ, called the matchup dangerously insane, raising serious safety concerns over Paul's considerable size disadvantage. Paul's promoter, Nakisa Badarian, has directly addressed concerns over the physical.
Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
You really think he's got a chance?
why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he? But that's
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point, you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on?
Fair enough.
Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson. Shut your trap.
Disparity between Paul and Anthony Joshua, saying, size-wise, we can get comfortable with it. Reported to walk around 215 to 210 pounds compared to Joshua, who tipped the scales near 252 pounds. Badarian argued Paul's strength and rapid growth make the matchup viable. He stressed that Paul's experience at heavyweight facing opponents, like Mike Tyson, and his rising ring development leave him feeling confident margin-wise. Across the boxing world, professionals from fighters to trainers and promoters consistently express concern over legitimacy.